For Week 14 of the 2017 NFL season, the daily fantasy sports site DraftKings is running a $3 million fantasy football millionaire maker. FanDuel is running a $4 million Sunday NFL Fan Championship and a $1.3 million Sunday Million. Before you enter a daily fantasy lineup on DraftKings or FanDuel, you need to hear what professional DFS player Mike McClure has to say. McClure has more than $1 million in career DFS winnings and is rolling through the season, entering multiple lineups that have already cashed big in tournaments. Early odds Rams, Saints, Seahawks all open as underdogs last week. He was all over Patriots running back Rex Burkhead, a player many overlooked because of how many backs New England utilizes. The result, Burkhead absolutely went off with 15 touches for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns, returning a season-high 25.3 DK points for the low price of just $5,000 on DraftKings. Owners who had him in their lineups were well on their way to a huge DFS payout. Now, McClure has exhaustively studied the matchups, injuries and depth charts for Sunday's slate and has again locked in his optimal NFL DFS lineup. And he's sharing it over at Sportsline. One player he absolutely loves in Week 14: Seattle running back Mike Davis, $3,700 on DraftKings, $5,500 on FanDuel. There's finally some clarity in Seattle's backfield after Davis took nearly 75% of the snaps in the Seahawks' huge win over the Eagles in Week 13. And he didn't just play, he produced. Davis, even against a tough Philly defense, had 20 touches for 101 yards. Eddie Lacy and Thomas Rawls, meanwhile, combined for just 2 carries. It's safe to label those two as non-factors at this point, while Davis will carry the load again this week against the Jaguars, who allowed 141 yards rushing to the Colts last week and 108 to Adrian Peterson and the Cardinals the previous game. Despite his Week 13 production, Davis is still underpriced, leaving you plenty of room to roster a big star like Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, $7,400 on DraftKings, $8,000 on FanDuel. Kelce found the end zone twice in the first 5 minutes of last week's game against the Jets and now gets a date with a Raiders defense that's just 28th in the league defending the tight end. Already this season, Oakland has given up huge production to Evan Engram, $7,991, with Geno Smith at QB, Julius Thomas $6,841, and Hunter Henry $590, among others. Kelce scored in the first game between Kansas City and Oakland this season and has had double-digit targets in 3 of his last 5 games. Roster him in your NFL DFS lineups on Sunday and watch the points roll in. Sportsline's projections give Kelce the best chance to find the end zone of any Chiefs pass catcher this week. McClure is also targeting a WR with a dream matchup against a secondary that has proven it can't cover that position. He knows this player is in line for huge production. Picks like these could be the difference between winning your tournaments or going home empty-handed. So who is DFS pro Mike McClure putting in his optimal DFS lineup this week? Visit Sportsline now to see the full Week 14 tournament lineup from a professional DFS player who nailed Rex Burkhead's big performance in Week 13 and has over $1 million in career winnings, and find out